Welcome to the J-Man DVD blog. Here are today's movie reviews. The first one is Love, Wedding, Marriage with Mandy Moore and Cullen Lutz. And if you haven't seen it, here's a quick synopsis. Mandy Moore stars as Ava, a newlywed who has it all. A successful career as a top marriage counselor, her hot husband, Cullen Lutz of the Twilight Saga, and the answers to everything. But when she finds out that her parents, James Seymour and James Brolin, are getting a divorce, and her hubby has neglected to mention his first wife, Ava's perfect world begins to crumble. Is true love little more than a fairy tale, or is marriage really just an institution for the committed? Jessica Zohr, Gossip Girl, Michael Weston, House, and Christopher Lloyd co-star in this sexy and surprising romantic comedy, the directorial debut of actor Dermot Mulroney, My Best Friend's Wedding, Zodiac, Georgia Rule. That's Love, Wedding, Marriage. Here's the disc. The next one is The Green Hornet. If you haven't seen it, here's a quick synopsis. Britt Reed, Seth Rogen, is a slacker by day, party animal by night, until he finds a serious career that's seriously cool. Crime-fighting action hero. As the Green Hornet, he teams up with gadget whiz and martial arts master Kato J. Chow to take down LA's underworld. Even Britt's assistant Lenore, Cameron Diaz, doesn't suspect this mismatched pair is the masked duo busting the city's toughest thugs, led by Tartovsky, Christoph Waltz. With style, swagger, and an arsenal of awesome gear, the Green Hornet and Kato are doing justice their way, making every mission a mix of over-the-top action and outrageous comedy. That's the Green Hornet. Here's the disc. The next one is One Fine Day with Michelle Pfeiffer and George Clooney. If you haven't seen it, here's a quick synopsis. George Clooney plays a rakish, irresponsible, and sexy single dad, and Michelle Pfeiffer is a neurotic, standoffish, and sexy single mom. In this likable, fast-paced romantic comedy, Melanie Parker is an architect and a perfectionist workaholic who has no time for a social life. Unfortunately, things spin out of her control on the day of the biggest presentation of her career. When her son Sammy shows up late to school and misses the class field trip, he is left in Melanie's care for the day. Jack Taylor, a freckless newspaper reporter, finds himself in much the same situation when his newly married ex-wife leaves their daughter Maggie with him for a week, requiring a level of responsibility which he is unprepared for. The two meet in front of the school, and sparks of the ill-tempered kind fly as each projects onto the other the faults of their exes. Eventually, however, as each races to save his or her job, while keeping their kids intact. Their true feelings for one another emerge. That's one fine day. Here's the disc. Next one is Gabe the Cooper Dog. This stars Brian Krause from Charmed. Haven't seen these, a quick synopsis. True love is forever. Gabe the dog's happy life is turned upside down by his owner Eric's, Brian Krause, plan to move to England. Facing 6 months in quarantine, Gabe plays Cooper Dog to make Eric fall in love with girl next door, Sarah Potty Bliss, CSI Miami, to keep him in America. When his plan starts to unravel, Gabe must go to extraordinary lengths to get Eric and Sarah to tie the leash. That's Gabe the Cupid Dog. Here's the disc. The next one is Bedknobs and Broomsticks with Angela Lansbury. Here's a quick synopsis. Bedknobs and Broomsticks is a spellbinding mix of live action and animation that makes it one of Disney's most endearing classics. Set in England during World War II, you'll meet a delightful amateur witch, Angela Lansbury, who reluctantly takes in 3 precocious evacuee children. The four eventually join forces with an amusing Professor David Thomason, Mary Poppins. They soon find themselves aboard a flying bed. Its magic brass bed knob, their ticket to one fantastic adventure after another, including a visit to an island inhabited by wondrous animated animals. In order to track down an ancient incantation that could save England from hostile invaders. That's Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Here's the disc. Next one is A Few Best Men. Here's the synopsis. When David Xavier Samuel journeys to Australia to marry the love of his life, Mia, he invites his 3 best mates, Graham, Kevin Bishop, Luke, Tim Draxel, and Tom, Chris Marshall, to travel with him. Having barely met his bride-to-be, they aren't too impressed at the thought of losing their best friend to married life, so on the other side of the world, but resolve to give him a send-off to remember. After a final carnage-filled stag night, the big day arrives, and the trio of ill-prepared best men end up giving a whole new meaning to the phrase for better or worse, as a chaos-filled wedding, complete with a deranged drug dealer, a cross-dressed sheep, a coked-up mother-in-law, Olivia Newton-John, and possibly the most disastrous speech of all time, threatened to derail the marriage before it's even begun. That's A Few Best Men. Here's the disc. The last of my old ones is My Best Friend's Girl with Kate Hudson and Dane Cook. Here's the synopsis. Dane Cook faced the ultimate test of friendship when his best friend Dustin, Jason Biggs, hires him to take his ex-girlfriends, Alexis, Kate Hudson, out on a lousy date in order to make her realize how great her former boyfriend is. But things don't go according to plan when when Alexis begins to become fascinated with Tank's wild ways, and soon Dustin finds himself competing against his best friend for his ex-girlfriend's affection. That's my best friend's girl. Here's the disc. Now my new ones. First one is Ranawana with Justin Timberlake and Ben Affleck. His synopsis. Players. Richie first used to have a lucrative career on Wall Street. This history prevents him from receiving tuition assistance at Princeton. So he funds his master's degree by referring students to online gambling, for which he receives a cut. After the dean threatens to expel him for these activities, Richie tries to win his tuition by using his excellent poker skills in online gambling. But he loses all his money to a cheater, something he is able to prove by statistics. Richie goes to Costa Rica to confront Ivan Block, who runs the biggest empire of online play or be played. You have no idea how you're playing with. That's Runner. Here's the disc. Next one is my newie Joe with my next one is Joe with Nicolas Cage and Ty Sheridan. His synopsis. Joe. The story begins as Joe hires teenage Gary Jones and his dissolute father onto his tree poisoning crew for a lumber company. Joe might be notoriously reckless with his pickup, his dog, and especially with women, but he sees something in Gary that gets to him. A determination, a raw decency, and a sense of resilience he can barely believe in anymore. Gary has truly had nothing in life. He's never spent a day at school, yet something drives him to take care of his family, to keep his sister safe when his father turns monstrous, to hang on to hope of a better future. Joe and Gary forge an unlikely bond. When Gary finds himself facing a threat greater than he knows how to handle, he turns to Joe and sets off a chain of events that play out with the brutal inability of tragedy and the beauty of last stab at salvation. That's Joe. Here's the disc. Next one is Labor Day with Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin. His synopsis. Labor Day centers on 13-year-old Henry Wheeler, who struggles to be the man of his house and care for his reclusive mother Adele, while confronting all the pangs of adolescence. On a back-to-school shopping trip, Henry and his mother encounter Frank Chambers, a man both intimidating and clearly in need of help, who convinces them to take him into their home, and later is revealed to be an escaped convict. The events of this long Labor Day weekend will shape them for the rest of their lives. The reviews say this gem is part coming of age, drama, and part thriller, as well as being extraordinarily romantic, Lulamek, New York Post. Labor Day is right man's most accomplished, mature, and emotional work yet. Kurt Devil Film School rejects or something. Brolin is a strong, dangerous, and sexy leading man. Ann Thompson in The Wire. That was Labor Day. Next one is Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. His synopsis. With the 70s behind him, San Diego's top-rated newsman Ron Burgundy, Will Ferrell, returns to the news desk in Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Also back for more are Ron's co-anchor and wife, Veronica Corningstone, Christina Applegate, Weatherman Brick Tamlin, Steve Carell, Man on the Street Brian Fantana, Paul Rudd, and sports guy Champ Kine, David Keckner, all of whom won't make it easy to stay classy while taking New York's first 24-hour news channel by storm. That was Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Mr. Disc. Next one is Delivery Man with Vince Vaughn. His synopsis. In this heartwarming comedy, underachiever David Wozniak, Vince Vaughn, learns he is actually an overachiever. He's fathered 533 children by donations made 20 years earlier. David soon discovers that the shock of his life might just be the best thing that's ever happened to him. Along the way, he discovers not only his true self, but also the father he could become. Also starring Chris Pratt and Colby Smulders, and complete with bonus materials, it's a feel-good movie that really delivers. The reviews say hilarious and heartfelt. Peter Rallis review. That was Delivery Man. My next one is another Vince Vaughn movie. It's The Internship he did with Owen Wilson. Here's the review. Here's the synopsis. Billy, Vince Vaughn, and Nick, Owen Wilson, are salesmen whose careers have been torpedoed by the digital world. Trying to prove they are not obsolete, they defy the odds by talking their way into a coveted internship at Google, along with a battalion of brilliant college students. But gaining entrance to this utopia is only half the battle. Now they must compete with a group of the nation's most elite, tech-savvy geniuses to prove that necessity really is the mother of reinvention. Teamwork. Tackle life side by side. That was The Internship. Here's the disc. The second last one is Silver Linings Playbook. Here's the synopsis. Sometimes things don't always go according to plan. Pat Sultano, Bradley Cooper, Limitless, The Hangover, has lost everything. His house, his job, and his wife. He now finds himself living back with his mother, Jackie Weaver, Animal Kingdom, The 5-Year Engagement, and father, Robert De Niro, Meet the Fockers, and like that. After spending 8 months in a state institution on a plea bargain, Pat is determined to rebuild his life, remain positive, and reunite with his wife. Despite the challenging circumstances of their separation, all Pat's parents want is for him to get back on his feet and to share their family's obsession with the Philadelphia Eagles football team. When Pat meets Tiffany, Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games Winter's Bone, a mysterious girl with problems of her own, things get complicated. Tiffany offers to help Pat reconnect with his wife, but only if he'll do something very important for her in return. As their deal plays out, an unexpected bond begins to form between them, and silver linings appear in both of their lives. That was Silver Linings Playbook. That is. The second last one is American Hustle, his synopsis. A fictional film set in the alluring world of one of the most stunning scandals to rock our nation. American Hustle tells the story of brilliant con man Ivan Rosenfeld, Christian Bale, who, along with his equally cunning and seductive British partner, Sidney Prosser, Amy Adams, is forced to... What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just getting
That was... I'll read it again. A fictional film set in the alluring world of one of the most stunning scandals to rock our nation. American Hustle tells the story of brilliant con man Irving Rosenfeld, Christian Bale, who, along with his equally cunning and seductive British partner, Sidney Prosser, Amy Adams, is forced to work for wild FBI agent Richie DiMasso, Bradley Cooper. DiMasso pushes them into a world of Jersey power brokers and mafia that is dangerous as it is enchanting. Jeremy Renner is Carmine Polito, the passionate for-tale New Jersey political operator caught between the con artists and feds. Irving's unpredictable wife, Rosalind Jennifer Lawrence, could be the one to pull the thread that brings the entire world crashing down. Like David O. Russell's previous films, American Hustle defies genre, hinging on raw emotion and life and death stakes. Everyone hustles to survive. That was American Hustle. Here's the disc. My last of my new ones is Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale. Here's a synopsis. From Scott Cooper, the critically acclaimed writer and director of Crazy Heart, comes a gripping and gritty drama about family, fate, consumer stance, and justice. Russell Bay's From Scott Cooper, the critically acclaimed writer and director of Crazy Heart, comes a gripping and gritty drama about family, fate, consumer stance, and justice. Russell Bay's Christian Bale has a rough life. He works a dead-end blue-collar job at the local steel mill by day and cares for his terminally ill father by night. When Russell's brother Rodney Casey Affleck returns home from serving time in Iraq, he gets lured into one of the most ruthless crime rings in the Northeast and mysteriously disappears. The police fail to crack the case, so with nothing left to lose, Russell takes matters into his own hands, putting his life on the line to seek justice for his brother. That was Out of the Furnace. Here's the disc. Now some of my old ones. First it's Up in the Air with George Clooney and Vera Familia. The synopsis. Ryan Bingham, Academy Award winner George Clooney, is surely living on. Ryan Bingham, Academy Award winner George Clooney, is surely living the high life. Flying all over the world on business, he never stops moving until he meets Alex, a fellow passenger, and learns that life isn't about the journey, but the connections we make along the way. Acclaimed by critics and audiences everywhere. Up in the Air is light and dark. Hilarious and tragic, bouncy and brainy, romantic and real. Owen Gleiberman, Entertainment Weekly. George Clooney gives the performance of his career. Lou Limerick, New York Post. That was Up in the Air. Is the disc. The next one is The Big Year with Jack Black, Owen Wilson, and Steve Martin. His synopsis. Steve Martin, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson form a comic dream team in this smart, funny comedy from the director of The Devil Wears Prada and Marley and Me. Looking to shake up their routine lives, three amateur bird watchers compete to become the ultimate birder by spotting the greatest number of species within a single calendar year. But the friendly rivalry soon turns into a hilarious, complicated cross-country adventure as each man begins to realize that the quest for success comes at a price, and that's not chicken feed. That's The Big Year. That's the disc. Next is The Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively. His synopsis. In a universe as vast as it is mysterious, a small but powerful force has existed for centuries. Protectors of peace and justice, they are called the Green Lantern Corps, a brotherhood of warriors sworn to keep intergalactic order. Each Green Lantern wears a ring that grants him superpowers, but when a new enemy called Parallax threatens to destroy the balance of power in the universe, their fate and the fate of Earth lie in the hands of their newest recruit, the first human ever selected, Hal Jordan, Ryan Reynolds. Hal is a gifted and cocky test pilot, but the Green Lanterns have little respect for humans who have never harnessed the infinite powers of the ring before. But Hal is clearly the missing piece to the puzzle, and along with his determination and willpower, he has one thing no member of the Corps has ever had: humanity. With the encouragement of fellow pilot and childhood sweetheart Carol Ferris, Blake Lively, if Hal can quickly master his new powers and find the courage to overcome his fears, he may prove to be not only the key to defeating Parallax, he will become the greatest Green Lantern of all. That was The Green Lantern. Here's the disc. My second last one is The Sound of Music. Here's the synopsis. Share the magical, heartwarming, true love story that has become the most popular family film of all time. Rodgers and Hammerstein's The Sound of Music. Julie Andrews lights up the screen as Maria, the spirited young woman who leaves the convent to become governess to the 7 children of Captain Von Trapp, an autocratic widower whose strict household rules leave no room for music or entertainment. Here's the disc. And my last one is The Joneses with Demi Moore and David Duchovny. His synopsis. Demi Moore, David Duchovny, and Amber Heard co-star in this fresh, scintillating, and downright terrific film. Rex Reed, The New York Observer. The Joneses seem like the most stylish, trend-setting family on the block, but in reality they have a hidden agenda that will affect their closest friends and neighbors in surprising ways. As the Joneses' plan unfolds, secrets will be revealed and lies exposed. Forcing them to turn to the last people on earth they thought they could ever trust each other. Excellent, a zeitgeist film. Richard Caller's Time. That was the Joneses. It's the disc. So the movies I'll review today are The Joneses, The Sound of Music, The Green Lantern, The Brigadier, Up in the Air, Out of the Furnace, American Hustle, Silver Linings Playbook, The Internship, Delivery Man, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, Labor Day, Joe, Runner Runner, My Best Friend's Girl, A Few Best Men, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Grave the Cupid Dog, One Fine Day, The Green Hornet, and Love, Wedding, Marriage. I'm the J-Man saying bye!